Time to question your reality. What's happening, everybody?
There were way too many puns in this episode.
I know. I was
Way
like,
too many puns.
what do I choose? Do I do like a Matrix pun, a Lawnmower Man pun? I mean, I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't, I just was like, question reality, because what is reality, folks? What is happening? Welcome to Batman, the Fan-imated stream. I'm, of course, Dave here, the film junkie, and with me as always, Mr. Scott McClellan. How's it going, sir?
It's late, Dave. It's late.
I had to push it a little bit because it's Mother's Day.
It is Mother's Day.
Yeah, so we had to push it a little bit. How was your Mother's Day?
Well, I'm not the mother.
Yeah, I know you're not the mother, but how was treating your mother, and then of course your wife, who was
right. I made sure that I said, it's kind of funny because my mom's birthday and Heather's birthday are so close to Mother's Day that makes Mother's Day a little redundant a little bit. So I went ahead and got to say hi to my mom over the weekend, so that today was really more about Heather and also celebrating her birthday with her parents. So it was, there was a lot of sitting by the pool, sipping an old fashioned, watching my boys play in the pool, and they're old enough to actually play with each other. So it's like, Daddy doesn't have to get into the pool. Daddy can sip his old fashioned.
Yes. You're like, finally, I'm here.
I am here. I have arrived.
Yes, I have arrived. Don't have to watch the little one so much anymore. That's cool.
But Heather got to have some shrimp etouffee for dinner. That was what she wanted.
Ooh,
I know. It was really good.
Sure was. I just went to my brother's. He made some tri-tip baked potato and some cheese bread, and we had just Mother's Day dinner there with Mama Film Junkie. I don't know if she's out there yet. I don't see her yet, but yes. That was pretty much it. Just hanging out with them for a little bit. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and then of course to Mama Film Junkie, which I'm sure she'll be jumping into the chat fairly soon. What's going on, Ryan? We got David Blaine in here. I'm going to show you a magic trick. This episode, okay. So we got a fan. Yeah, he talks about the Matrix, stuff like that a little bit too. We got pretty fly for a Filipino guy. We got my friend Christina, my real life friend Christina. How's it going, Christina?
You have real life friends? I don't believe you.
I have real life friends, man. It's not. What is reality? I have reality friends, it happens. Ahoy, ahoy, Mr. Jason McKenzie. Good to see you. We got Selena here too. Tyler, what is going on, guys? Thanks for joining. All right. This is the second time we've seen the Riddler?
Yeah, and this is an episode I have not watched in a while, and primarily because I think, as we discussed when we talked about If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich, I talked in that episode about how I had the Riddler VHS.
Yeah.
And there's only 3 Riddler episodes in this entire original run. So you get that VHS and you literally get you get all 3. I'm like, they're all there. So I wore that one out. So I watched this episode a lot when I was a kid, and then watched it again as an adult. And
okay, I think we feel a little different because
we do feel a little different.
Because there's something about this episode. I was like, I always just dug the Riddler episodes, and when it came to this one, it was one of those like you. I watched a lot, and I think I even had those same VHS tapes that carried like the specific villains and then their episodes. I had those, and I probably wore the crap out of it too. And I don't know. There's just something. I think because I'm always was such a fan of that whole virtual reality type thing, and I was always like, man, just the thought of that just blew my little mind. So I think that was part of it. And then, I could see maybe like some of the gripes that you have when it comes to this episode, but there's just like little random things like literally there's a part where Riddler's face turns into a moon and goes, like that. And I'm like, I just remember that specifically. And I'm like, I always loved that for some reason. Some minor little detail.
Portions of this episode that I really enjoy.
Okay.
I think the problem is we did fairly recently watch if you're so smart, why aren't you rich? And that one really holds up for me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a better episode. That definitely is the superior episode. I do like the fact that there's reference to that episode.
There is
in there.
reference, and I always love when this show does continuity like that.
Exactly.
I think Scott Snyder even said this, because he dealt with Riddler during Zero Year in his comic book run, and he says Riddler is a hard villain to write for. Because you got to come up with the riddles. And I think that is part of my letdown with this episode is the riddles weren't as strong.
They weren't. And there was like, even like with some of the way that they figure out some riddles, I'm like, Batman.
That's a little 66-esque in your
a little 66-esque and a little Batman Forever-esque too.
Yes.
Yeah. And thank you, Miss Captain Gator Girl Nikki. Happy Mother's Day. She said, you always accept us for the dirty-minded weirdos that we are and appreciate that. Exactly. There she is, Mama Film.
Hi, Mama. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Man, I brought like over this satin chocolate cream pie. Man, was that good.
God, that sounds delicious.
From Marie Callender's. It was just like I picked it up. It was like, that looks good, and by golly, it was absolutely delicious. Woo! Tell ya, I just I'm fucking so full. I'm so full right now. Jesus Christ! After some tri-tip, a big ass baked potato, and a cheese bread, and then pie, I'm about to explode. But anyways, hopefully everybody's having a good Mother's Day, and just say how much moms are awesome. That's all we ask for.
We wouldn't be here without our mothers.
Exactly. See, and even she said it was heavenly. It definitely was. Going down with that champagne that we had too. Anyways, all right. So the episode starts off with one of those things where I'm like,
why are you jogging in Gotham City
at night? Okay, it's like you got this guy, and I love how like when he gets in front of the ATM, he's still doing
the power jog.
Yeah, he's still running in place, and
carrying his ATM card in the pocket of his sweatshirt. Because one, I'm like, you're in sweats. Where are you going to put the cash?
I know, right?
In Gotham City.
Yeah, and I know it's like if you're going out for a jog, why do you need to get money now? Like, what are you going to be paying for late at night? Like, what is going on here? Or like, maybe he just didn't. He felt like he didn't have time before he goes to work tomorrow. But yeah, I mean that happens. And it's like a series of events that we kind of get like right here because we have him who gets a riddle on the ATM screen, and I didn't even write down what the riddles were.
Oh, the riddle is, where does a 500-pound gorilla sleep?
Okay, and what was the answer to that?
Anywhere he wants.
Anywhere he wants. That's right. Because Alfred kind of just figures them all out, right?
Because they're stupid jokes. They're not even really like the riddle that we later see is that the questions themselves are not the riddles because these are like jokes that like Liam would have in stupid little joke books for 9-year-olds. Like this is enigma material.
That's why I kind of had that correlation to Batman Forever because it wasn't about the answers, it was about the numbers in the riddle,
right?
That spelled out mystery, and what the name for a mystery? Enigma.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like so. That was so sped up. Kind of wonder if like it was meant to be like that quick to figure out, or I don't know. Maybe that's
Kilmer, however, nailed that delivery. Like he
totally
sold
did. Okay. I always say Kilmer's Bruce Wayne was so good. I loved his
it was
Batman Forever. Like when I mean, and dare I say it, I might have even liked it a little bit better than Michael Keaton's, like Bruce Wayne. I mean, I know it's like, Keaton's like cherished ground, but there's just something about Kilmer's Bruce Wayne specifically that I really enjoyed in Batman Forever. But anyway, so yeah, we get that. And then of course we get to like the stock market and like over the ticker, another riddle flashes up and it's just
what's worse than a millipede with flat feet?
Well, what's the answer again?
A giraffe with a sore throat.
Yeah, it is like it's not the best stuff. It really.
It was really funny listening to all of the regular cast members being the people of the
I heard all of them. I heard Gordon. I heard heard everybody, and Alfred was in there too. Yeah. I know. I heard like the background. I was like, oh yeah. There you could definitely. It was pretty distinctive to hear all that. But and then of course you have Dick and Alfred, who are at the bank, and of course the computer.
No, it's the DMV.
Oh, DMV. Sorry. I thought, yeah, the DMV. And of course, the computers are down. And another riddle flashes up on theirs. What was that riddle?
That was, how do you fit 5 elephants into a compact car?
There we go. Yeah. And what was the answer?
2 in the front seat, 2 in the back, and 1 in the trunk.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I mean, it was just funny when it was going. Yeah. I mean, that's where I'll agree with, like, yeah, the riddles are not too strong. I think it's the virtual reality stuff that I really dig about this.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's
yeah.
the hook of the
Yeah.
episode. Yeah.
Definitely is. And then of course Commissioner Gordon is getting hounded by the press, and then when he gets into his office, of course Batman is there. And
it's really weird seeing Gordon without his trench coat on.
Yeah, that was weird. That was different. It was a lot of Gordon not with a trench coat in this episode. And obviously we already know it's Enigma, and Enigma is basically erasing trying to erase his existence, essentially, in the digital side of everything. But of course, there's still going to be physical files, and he's got to wipe those out too. Which, of course, any Batman rogue is going to have goons that infiltrate, get uniforms on, and can penetrate.
Yeah, I really want to know, like, where is the store that everyone buys their uniforms from?
I know, right?
Seriously.
See, there's a sitcom right there. Like, you have like a place in Gotham City that just that bad guys go to get like their stuff, like the version of
there is an actual character, and forgive me, I'm blanking.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I know you're.
But there's a character in The Flash that is known for making the Rogues costumes in The Flash, and I'm forgetting his name because I remember in the first episode of the Grant Gustin TV show, it's the name of the laundry van that Barry runs into.
Right. I remember the Easter egg. Yeah, maybe somebody in the chat will find that out. But yeah, you're definitely right, because I remember when The Flash, when I like watched that entire season, like right when it came out, and there was mention when I would watch stuff about Easter eggs and stuff like that. So so maybe somebody in the chat will figure that out. But yeah, I mean, it is just kind of funny because obviously there is a scene where, a couple of Enigma's goons go to get that. But first, Gordon gets a phone call, and it's like, hey, we got a big, huge box that got delivered to police headquarters, loaded with question marks, and it's ticking. It's like,
oh, that's not suspicious at all.
Yeah. I know, right? It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Wow. And it's a pretty big box.
Okay, that's my question: is how did this thing? How did this thing get delivered? 2, how do they fit it in that room that it ends up in? I'm just
you really got to suspend the disbelief.
Oh, the suspension of disbelief, that uncanny valley is like, woo.
Yeah, very true. I mean, it's a very, very big console, definitely is, and obviously when it comes, it's always funny because both Riddler episodes, they have Robin in there. It's almost like if you're going to have a Riddler episode, you're guaranteed to have Robin in this episode.
But one cool little piece of connective tissue I will get this episode is that since Enigma was introduced in this series as a video game designer, the idea that his second episode would also involve a computer, I think is a cool piece of character continuity.
Yeah. No, that is cool. Yeah, that does make sense. And like I said, there is reference to that towards the end of the episode, which is cool. And so yeah, and then of course Robin knows it's an ancient Chinese box puzzle or whatever, and then of course finds it comes down. And I love how
we also don't have no clue how he actually solved it.
Yeah. I'm like, and then he just goes, here we go, click, and then it just falls down. It's like, all right, I guess Robin just found a place to push a button. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, but I like the fact that there's like one of the SWAT guys very on edge.
Oh man, okay, that is another thing that I want to track throughout this entire series. Is one, these SWAT guys are always gung ho and always on edge. And when we get to it, I'm going to bring this up in Mask of the Phantasm because there's a really on edge SWAT guy in that movie, and it's like, where do they get these guys?
Yeah. It's like a little bit of training, maybe he's got to see like the police like therapist or something. I don't know, but yeah, there's a guy in here that is just like, and then when the thing comes down And I mean, the first thing that they do is pull their guns. I'm like, man, you guys, if anything, you guys should really just be like running out of the room. If that thing, I mean, what are you
Then
gonna
that
do? You're gonna
clock
shoot?
starts.
Yes, it's like, and then they're just like, what are you gonna shoot at? What are you gonna kill? What is the gun gonna do? What is the gun gonna do? It's not gonna do anything.
And all Batman does is hit the escape key.
Yeah. I know. Batman and Robin are like not even phased by this at all. They're just on the front lines, like whatever, which I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, he just hits the escape button, and that's pretty much it. And then so we get to that, and of course we get the Enigma's goons that get the hard copies from the police, like I don't know, where they hold all those documents, all the folders on everybody, and so it's like, oh, okay, so that's how he's gonna get rid of the hard copies. And then of course we get to the Batcave. Robin stays, of course, with the machine because he's the smart, the young smart
Actually,
hotshot.
before then, we do get the goons delivering the file.
Oh yeah, that's true. To Enigma.
To Enigma, which a cool. Okay, this was cool. I like the fact that Enigma is sitting at his computer, and he looks like Enigma. He's not dressed up like the Riddler. I'm like, oh, cool. You don't just wear that like time.
Yeah, he's wearing the white shirt, suspenders, the red
pocket protector with the pin.
Oh yeah, totally just looking like the nerd that he is. So yeah, I thought that was cool too. I did, because it's not like he's like always going to be dressed up as, because come on, wearing that mask all the time, it's got to be, and even that top hat,
the spirit glue. I mean, spirit gum, like stick that to his face.
What are you talking about? Those masks fit perfectly. What do you say in there? Actually, if you ask any cosplayer, no, that's not the case.
No,
I think when Meg, Wonder Meg, when she did her
Green Lantern
thing, I asked her, I was like, wow, the mask looks really good. She goes, yeah, it was a pain in the ass to try to get that thing to fucking stay on. And it's like, yeah, it's
and if you've ever, and as someone who has put spirit gum on,
yeah, it's when you try to peel that stuff off.
Oh
yeah, it's not fun. Oh yeah, I've had some elaborate. Yes, I've had some elaborate costumes that I've put on for for Halloween, and yeah, sometimes like it's kudos to the people that to do that shit all the time. But anyway, so then of course they solve the riddles, and like I said, it's like the answers aren't the key, it's the numbers, which are Roman numerals, and they spell out DMV.
Right, 500, 1005. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So obviously, there's Enigma's goons that are at the DMV now, who are looking for the files, and of course Batman intervenes.
Okay. Let's stop for 1 second here, though. We'll stop for 1 second here.
Okay.
We're at the police records.
Yeah.
They can pull out a file folder that says Nigma, Edward, aka the Riddler. That makes sense to me at police records. But why does the DMV have a folder that says Nigma, Edward, aka the Riddler? I'm like, does the DMV really care?
The thorough man. What are you talking about? Yes. The DMV obviously cares. Haven't you been to the DMV? They care so much.
What the hell? What DMV have you been to?
I know, right? I am totally being. I'm just not. I mean, yeah, no. I'm
no.
Facetious as all hell. Yeah, we all been to the DMV. It sucks. We never want to go there. Luckily, with modern technology, sometimes we can avoid it. But man, when you have to,
I had to with COVID, I could never like there was no. My license came up for renewal, and every time I went there, the line was literally out the building, whatever time of day. I was just thankful that they had a renew online option. And I renewed. Of course, the sucky part is I didn't get to change this was after I lost my weight. So I didn't get to change my weight on my driver's license, and I had to keep the same photo from 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's the only bad part about that is when you do it online, it's like you have to change nothing. Like you just keep going, so you can't get anything new. But then at the same time, you're like, worth it. It's just worth it. I'm like, I don't want to go in and just, go ahead, keep all that. I'm good. I mean, I did the same thing too. Didn't update the picture from like, I don't know, but it was like 4-year-old picture, so it wasn't like that bad. But I still have like my 3 addresses ago on my driver's license.
Oh man, no, I had to get a new one because 4 years ago, I think I've told you this story, but 4 years ago when I got that license is when I got the special little, the Patriot Act thing where you had to do like the special certification on it, and I
Yeah.
took Liam with me, and Liam was like turned 4 that weekend, and so he was 4 years old with me, and we got stuck in the line for like 4 to 5 hours at the
Oh,
DMV. And
good
that was
Lord.
when, and then I rewarded him because he got to get all the popcorn and drinks he wanted, and we went to see the Lego Batman movie.
Nice. At least there was that at the end, man. God damn, 4 to 5 hours
with a 4-year-old.
Oh my God.
That boy started like splaying out like about hour 4. And at that point I don't blame like at that point I was
like, you were about to do it too, probably.
No, I was.
Like,
so I'm just here going, no, kid. You've been a champ. You can throw a fit now.
Yeah, go for it and just see what you did. See what you did. Ugh, man. Anyways, but so that is a funny little point that you pointed out right there. Like, why would the DMV actually care that he's also the Riddler? It's interesting. So then, of course, after he fights the dudes on the inside, he gets on the outside, and there's a car that, of course, has question marks over it. You know, it's like, wow,
wow,
yeah.
That's committing to a theme.
That's really committed to a theme, but it's like that's gonna probably draw some eyes, and you're probably gonna get pulled over at that. But it doesn't matter because there's like a robot in there. Or a robot arm, something with
he's got the full body. He's got the
he's got the full body, but he's got the
camera as the head.
The camera head, which I thought was kind of cool. And it's kind of cool. I dug that little sequence right there because Batman taking on the car.
But okay, so this is probably one of the coolest things for me, like because the animation kind of sucks in this episode. It's not
top tier. No,
it's not top tier, but they do a really cool like camera shot. Animated, because like when Batman is smashing through the windshield, but the first time where the nitroglycerin is revealed, like the camera starts like in the driver's seat, and it's like someone had the camera on a dolly, and it pulls back through the entire van and out the back door. I'm like, okay, that was cool. Like, whenever the animation bothers to act like there's a camera.
Yeah, you gotta love that.
You gotta love that.
Yeah, I know. Anytime when it comes to animation where they could do, and then when they do something like that, or when they do some of these angles, like there's always like a specific one I've seen in animation where when it rotates around like somebody as it's zooming out.
Yes,
there's always like that cool little. It's like you really can't achieve that in live action the way that it looks in animation. There's something that's with the animation whenever you see like it's just zero, like the character is going to look at some kind of big huge monstrosity or something like that, and the way that it rotates, way that the animation is just like you could achieve that in live action, but it doesn't look quite as like how it does in animation. So there's when they really like take in count of like, hey, this would be a cool shot, and then they achieve something like that. Yeah, it's really cool, and that is a cool shot. What you said, but so Batman taking on the robot car or whatever, and of course Nigma is taunting him with within it, just saying all this stuff and doing all what Nigma does, and then we're back at the police headquarters. There's something funny.
Robin just being dumb.
Robin,
Robin,
you bet your. I mean, yes, sir. Yeah, being the young kid that he is, he doesn't know. I mean, he's got Batman as his, he was his authority, and so it's like he doesn't know. It's just Robin. It's funny, but at the same time, he starts explaining the virtual reality of the console and everything. And
even though that's not how virtual reality works.
No, it really. I mean, this is where, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm fine with it. But at the same time, it's like, if you were to, I mean, that's where when you go back to a movie like Lawnmower Man, I mean, they were literally in a thing strapped up that like spun around. And then even like anytime that there's dealing with like virtual reality, even like, Ready Player One or something like that, I mean, you're literally moving around. You're not just sitting stationary on a screen, and
you're wearing goggles. Like it's not like this weird little that looks like one of those old-fashioned like football helmets.
Yeah, it looks. Almost looks like a Tron helmet too, a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, that's totally there. And somehow it's like, right? You said it's like they're like moving, and it's like,
Yeah.
how's the computer detecting this?
Yeah,
Just
they
where
could have did something where it was like at least go over your eyes, or
over your eyes,
something.
maybe some gloves,
Yes, something
like
because
it could have been like old Nintendo Power Gloves. I would have been
right?
okay with that.
Oh, who remembers that movie, The Wizard? Ah, Fred Savage.
Ah,
Yeah, that was a great one. Yeah, yeah. What was
did
that?
you ever see
What was
8-Bit Christmas on HBO Max?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Oh,
you
I'm gonna
do,
have
dude.
yeah, that's right. I heard about that. I need to watch that.
You
Yeah.
need to watch that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
Oh,
Power Glove reference in that one. That was
as there should
epic.
be. As there should be. But yeah, so Robin is explaining that, and then of course they go inside the whole thing. It's like a labyrinth, and he's just kind of like, yeah, man, everything feels kind of real. It's like, okay,
I
that's
was waiting for
interesting.
Bowie to show up. Seriously.
Yeah, right. And then of course Robin goes, all right, well, I'm gonna go, go
Get
get
a
I think
snack.
he
He
get a
literally
snack.
said, "I'm going to go get a snack."
Yeah, I guess so. He's gonna leave him there, but he basically assures that there's no way that Riddler is gonna be tapped into this thing because there's no phone line, which is kind of funny. It's like, oh yeah,
Phone
like
lines. Yeah.
phone line. Remember those days? I mean, this is like the early '90s too, which is funny. But I mean, the technology was slowly getting there. But yeah,
We still had we still had AOL in the 90s.
yeah, of course, yeah, it came up late, like a few years later, and yeah, and that was always, God. And then you couldn't use your phone, or if somebody called you, it just kicked you right off.
Or you had to own a second phone line.
Yep. God, that was such a pain in the ass, man.
Yeah, it
How
was.
did we live back then? Because everything is just so nice and convenient now. I mean, literally, you could talk over Wi-Fi now. It's just crazy. Anyway, so
This
then
is
of
the
course you
old
get
man portion of
yes.
the
Back in our day, yeah, we used to get kicked off when we were typing in messages to people, strangers
We
online.
used to wait an hour to watch a 3-minute trailer.
Oh man, I remember those days. And that Batman and Robin trailer came out, and that QuickTime video, it took like probably 3 hours to download. But man, I watched that thing over and over again. I was so happy. I was like, another Batman movie. And yeah, it ended up being that Batman movie. But still, I was a happy little child, just the fact that there was going to be another one. But so of course he gets locked out of the room. And Riddler, of course, had this separate plan of like, oh yeah, well, once I get Commissioner Gordon alone, well, I'm going to trap him in here. And sure enough, he does. Robin, of course, kicks down the door, and then, well, first it zaps Gordon in the freaking in the noggin, man. It just,
I know.
yeah, it's like okay. And then, of course, Robin tries to take it off, and he can't because it zaps him too. So it's all a big thing. But then this was, I mean, I'll admit that this part right here is a little interesting because obviously there's a payphone. We go back to Batman. There's a payphone. It's Nigma. And then he goes, well, and he gives them like a certain amount of change to figure out something. But it's like,
make it make sense.
yeah, make it make sense, which is, I like that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, he figures it out that it's like, the penny and the copper.
This
and
was very Batman 66. This was
yeah,
extreme.
headquarters, and then room 101. But I'm like, did you really need to send a riddle for Batman to go back
to the computer?
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, usually you're trying to set him to go somewhere else, but he already was at the police station. He already knows the console. He knows Robin and Gordon are there. He was going to end up back there anyways. So yeah, that part I was like, I'm like, that wasn't the strongest, Riddler puzzle.
Red penny.
Yeah,
penny.
I do like that though.
He's like shaking.
He's driving the Batmobile and just like shaking the change and stuff like that. I was like, it's kind of cool. But yeah, it's like, but at the same time, I'm like, Riddler, I think he was already going to head back there at some point. So I don't know if he had to go through the whole ordeal of setting up the car, setting up the phone to deliver the
exact change.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, but then once we get back in there, and Batman shows back up and knows he has to go in there. And this is where I really enjoyed the episode, because now we're going to get into the virtual reality sense of this whole thing. I mean, of course, it took a little bit to get there, but it's fine. And then, of course, he's got an earpiece that he's going to talk to Robin because, this magical headpiece, of course, it's
almost block out everything else. It does so much stuff that virtual reality does not do, but cool, whatever.
At least the Matrix had something you stuck in your neck, the back of your brain stem, and you were asleep.
But
But
do you
anyway.
notice, however, that when we're in virtual reality, suddenly we go to the Matt Reeves, the Batman color scheme?
Yeah, I did notice that.
I
A lot of
did.
red, a lot of red. And I was like, yeah, I thought that exact same thing too. I was like, hey, a little bit of the Batman right here, which I liked. And obviously it's a Riddler episode, which is cool. So when Batman first gets in there, well, essentially it's like, I mean, it's a little morbid, but man, Gordon is trapped in one of those G-force like machines.
God, those things, by the way, that's no joke. Like
Have you done something like that?
yes,
You've
yes.
done it. Oh,
Oh.
yeah. I can only imagine. I mean, I've only seen it on every astronaut movie
Well,
ever.
I've been to space camp. So
Okay, that makes sense. So how many G's did you get to?
I don't remember, but
Oh, man.
I don't handle G's very well. Like
Yeah.
like I'm someone who, like, if I come off the exit ramp of the highway too fast,
Yeah.
I
You go.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you're not a roller coaster fanatic.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no,
I
no.
think we've
I
talked
can
about that before.
I can count literally on one hand how many roller coasters I've actually been on in my 40 years on this earth.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, stuff like even like at Disneyland, like I don't like the spinning stuff. I get dizzy pretty easily. When it comes to like, yeah, somebody just mentioned the teacups at Disneyland. Fuck that. I can't do that. I like roller coasters though, and I've even been on. I've been I've skydived. I've also been on the thing where they like bring you up and then they unhook you and you just swing. Yeah.
Oh no, have you been on the ones where it's just like the drop?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been on those too.
I've done that. I've done that.
Yeah.
The one that if you put a penny on your knee, it'll actually like float. Like,
oh yeah, there's a Superman the ride over at this Six Flags right here in Zero.
We got the Superman ride over at Six Flags over Georgia.
Oh yeah. I've actually no, it wasn't that one. What was it? I've been to the over Georgia. They had the Mr. Freeze ride, which was really cool. That shoots you up and you go through all these loop-de-loops, then you go straight up, then you go backwards through it.
Oh yeah, that's the we I was in the there's the Batman ride. Like
okay,
that.
there's that, too.
Yeah.
But over here, Superman ride was like 0 to 100 miles an hour in like 5 seconds. And you go straight up, and then everybody always like has like a coin or something like that, and you just go woo, and you just see it float, and before you go back.
Oh, see, our Superman ride's different. Our Superman ride is the one that like you're on the bottom of the roller coaster, so it's like you're flying through the whole roller coaster.
There's a different ride like that at Six Flags. It's called like Tatsu or something like that. But the whole gimmick of the Superman the ride over here is called the Escape was the fact that you're going 100 miles an hour straight up.
Oh, okay.
And then back down. It's really quick too, by the way, but it's just it scares the shit out of you. It does. Anyways, so man, we have some tangents on this one.
It's a good one. It's a good. They're related tangents, though.
They're related tangents because we're talking about craziness, and when Batman gets into the virtual reality that Nigma has created, this is where I like it because it's kind of eerie. It's a little creepy and everything because he's walking in trying to pick out which door that he has to go through, and obviously it's very like
the plane
looking.
Where kings and queens contend. It's like, okay, who didn't know that was a chessboard? I mean,
I know. Yeah, exactly. But of course, Batman needed a little help when it came to that and Robin. But at the same time, I did appreciate that it wasn't obvious because, well, first off, the first door he goes to, I love the fact that there's like moving question marks, and then they just move like upside down, and then they're like almost like snake-like, and they shoot the dots at.
I know that would be a cool video game. Like
I really like that.
Yeah, of course. Then you go to the other one that was Crazy Intent. No, Crazy Intent means locomotive.
But hey, Batman used that to take out the freaking question mark gun snake things.
Yeah,
and I love how
Riddler go like, they'll expect me to believe you did that on purpose.
Exactly. Even Riddler's like, all right, that was convenient. I mean, come on, what are we doing here, folks? Come on, Jesus. But then I did appreciate the fact that when it came to the chessboard, I mean, it was like, wow, all right, that took a little math because it's like they found the room that says 46 or 4096, which is the square root of how many?
That square root, it's 64 squared.
64 squared
would be the square root of that number.
Yeah, see?
Called math.
I know. Math. See? Never been strong with it. That's why my brother is the math teacher, and me, I do this. That's what
We're
I
talking
do.
about. I'm an English teacher. You do the math.
Do I? I do some maybe some weird funky math, I guess. But what part I really liked about this when he goes into that room, and of course, yes, it's a chessboard. I like it when he transforms into a knight on a Pegasus. That's what I think I really like about that. They should have sold there needs to be a McFarlane action figure for this particular version of Batman that we see, because obviously he's going through the chessboard and some of the squares are breaking off, and I love it how it's pretty meta, because Robin goes, well, they call you the Dark Knight, so you got to move like a knight. So he's got, of course, move in the L shape.
Right.
And when that all happens, and then all of a sudden he morphs into it. And I just like the look. Man. I don't know. There's just something really cool about
because have you been reading Tom Taylor's Dark Knights of Steel book?
I have the first. I've read the first one. That's it. I need to catch up on that.
But yeah, that same kind of that's same probably what we'll get a McFarlane of. Is
there you go. You're absolutely correct with that. I remember there was back when we were young ones, there was they had a whole set of these Batman figures that were all over the place. You actually had the all different kinds of Batmans. You had the regular Batman. There was a knight, a kind of like a knight Batman. I don't know if you remember these.
I do remember these. Yeah.
You had Ezreal Batman. I had them all too, and yet there was a whole line of stuff like that. But I remember the one that was supposed to be that kind of Batman, which is cool. But so I just kind of dug that. But then of course there's this whole thing where he's now on the Pegasus and going through, so they're trying to figure out the constellations. And
that is probably one of my favorite parts of this episode, because it's cool because he has to position the Pegasus in the night sky where the constellation would be. And that's a cool idea, and how the constellations come alive and try to attack him. So Orion shoots an arrow, Taurus the bull comes attacking him. That was okay, that was clever. And I think that was some of my biggest issues, is that there wasn't enough cleverness. So when they did something like that, I was like, okay, no, this was clever.
Yeah, and that's what's cool. Yeah, and then of course, back to the whole red, the way everything read, and then when Batman falls into Riddlerville, as Riddler calls it. I thought that was
shaking my head at this point.
I know, right? Could have been a little more clever, right? But I was same thing with you. I was oh yeah, that looks very much in the vein of the Batman right there. So then, of course, there's and there was foreshadowing that already had this. The fact that Robin said he solved the Baxter's box. Is that what they call it? That's
what he called it, yes.
Yeah. So, there was already mention of that at first. So, of course, the Riddler coming in. And again, before that, when his face turns into a moon, I thought that was great when he was on the chessboard and he's just and then it just turns into a moon. I love that shot. I don't know. Just something about that just,
it sticks with you. I get it.
Yeah,
it's a cool visual.
Yeah, it's a cool visual. But so obviously then he brings out that Baxter's box, and that's where, of course, Commissioner Gordon is in. And then this is where the clip we're gonna go, because I thought it was kind of cool where Batman realizes, goes, wait a minute. If you can do some crazy shit in here, either
if you can do Matrix shit, I can do Matrix shit.
So I mean, that's something Riddler, it's hey, you should have thought about that before you took on Batman, because even Batman is so confident that there's even a line in here where he goes, basically, if I forgot what he says. He says something about if you're smart enough, something, and then I should be, or something like that. There's a confidence in Batman that he knows it. And then this is where it comes out, because he straight out goes, all right, well, if you're gonna and then even Robin said when it came to the Baxter's box, he talked about that he had a hammer to kind of break off the pieces and whatnot. So then Batman does what he does right here and bring up the clip.
He goes, I saw the Baxter box in 30 seconds. Of course, this time I don't have a sledgehammer, was the line he said.
There it is right there. But look at that red right there. You got to love that red. So there it is. So can I. No. See? And I love the echo, too.
The echo is really cool in the sound design. Yes.
And then it gets See, I love the sound effects
In
too.
my world, we play by my rules. You may control this world, Enigma.
Enigma. And then that's creepy.
Oh, that is really creepy.
T1000, Clayface like.
Riddler, Edward Enigma no longer exists. You might recall that he was once fired
By an ungrateful employer.
There it was. There's
There
that,
we
yeah,
go.
there's that continuity right there.
That was a private matter and should have remained so.
But it would have been if you hadn't interfered and turned Enigma into a fugitive.
See, I mean, I don't know. This part was always so cool to me.
Yeah,
taking them on.
The sound editor earned his pay this day.
Definitely did. And then the score with this little showdown right here, I like this too.
Any number you can think of.
I can double.
Tell me, Riddler, how can you split your focus in 32 directions?
Oh.
Sustain the concentration it takes to keep your world together. You can't.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is another part. Like, why does his concentration have to hold the world together? Isn't it called software? Here's where the plot falls apart.
Okay. You know what's funny about that, Scott? And now I'm going to bring this up right now. And then, of course, there's Gordon. But I'm going to actually bring this up because I watched Inception last night.
Okay.
So remember how, like, and it's kind of funny because the timing of that is hilarious. Because they, when it comes to Inception, there's always like the dreamer. I mean, this is a totally different concept because it's all about minds. Yes, this is like virtual reality, but I'm like, when that whole part happened, I was like, man, I just watched Inception last night. And usually, when the part where basically who's the architect, the dreamer, when things are starting to get like, oh, shit's fucked up, where everything's going, everything starts breaking down, just kind of like how that did. So, I mean, I can guess I could kind of correlate to that, but at the same time, it's not exactly the same because it's software as opposed to like a full on someone's mind. So, but I thought it was fine.
Sure day.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was like, all right, that was clever for Batman to be like, I'm gonna,
No, I know. It's just me. It's the adult me going.
It's a little too easy. No, but yeah, Batman tricked the Riddler, and then of course, and then there was like that whole thing about what was it? Where like if the planet were equitable.
If the planet were equitable, I still have my old job.
That's right. That's what he said right there. Yeah. And that was like a whole thing too, where it's like, because that's where they find him because it's the World's Fair or whatever the heck it was.
Okay. Because if the planet were equitable, I still have my old job. If the World's Fair, I still have my exposition. Oh, give me a break.
I know. I'll admit, I was even kind of like, what? Okay, that's interesting. But luckily Gordon got out and everything's all good. But yeah, they go and find Enigma, and apparently something happened. You actually hear that within the game where he's like goes or something, and then of course they find him, and it's just kind of a funny. I mean, this time, he's dressed up full on Riddler, and he's just his face is all wrinkly. And he's just like yeah, just
he's catatonic. Yeah,
that's pretty much what it is. But then the episode just ends. It just ends. What happens to Edward? I mean,
he comes back in another episode.
Yeah, so I guess that somebody cut the cord.
That was always a continuity thing for me.
Yeah.
I'll be interested when we get to Riddler's reform. Like, I can't remember if there's any like one line of exposition, because that was always something that bothered me, that he's like catatonic, and then he shows up in another episode. It's like, are we not going to explain?
Yeah, it just ends right there. It's like, all right. So I mean, he gets out of it somehow. God knows. I mean, some expert came in to do something to get him out of the game, but yeah, that's how the episode ends. She's just like, spoilers, Scott. No, but yeah, I mean, that's the episode right there. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than you.
I just think it doesn't age well. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, I totally get you. And then even talking about certain things, it's like, yeah, that right there is like, yeah, that's a little, okay, that's fine, a little easy, a little whatever. But
But
you
it's
know,
also it's a kid show. Let's
it's a
remember
kid
that.
show. It's a
It's a
kid
kid
show.
show.
It's not Christmas of the Joker. It's stronger than that, but it's of course not. It's not as strong as the introduction to why aren't you rich yet or whatever. It's not there. It's not quite at that status. But anyways, what do we got next week?
Oh, we got a good one. We
Oh.
have I Am the Night.
I Am the Night.
That is one of the most angsty episodes of Batman the Animated Series ever.
I'm trying to remember exactly what I'm looking at. Oh yeah, okay, now I remember. It's a Bullock episode. It's got police and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the I don't
Yeah.
want to tell you too much because you always like don't remember things until you actually start watching the
Yeah,
episode.
I know. I was just kind of briefly looking at some of it. Yeah, I'm starting to remember a little bit. Yeah, it's a good one. That's definitely a good one.
It's one of those that's like, oh no, this is like dark. Like this is like I'm Batman kind of episode.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. So make sure you guys watch that. And that's pretty much all we have to say about what is reality. Don't question reality, folks. If we're in a simulation, possibly, but we're not strapped to a machine that just has Tron helmets to connect to it. That's for damn sure.
Which is kind of cool considering that David Warner was both in Tron and in this series.
See, full circle right there. This is why you watch Batman the Fan-imated stream, because we go on tangents and we make connections that nobody else is making. That's why we are the experts here. All right, go ahead, Scott. Promote yourself.
Of course. You can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27. You can find my podcast, DC Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found, which in the next day or two, we will be dropping our next episode of the Batman Scene by Scene, as we will be discussing Scene 3, which is the epic It's Thursday, October 31st monologue scene from the beginning of the Batman.
Oh.
Of course, we're on Vero, Facebook, YouTube with the entire network of shows at SquadcastMedia.com. And let me also take an opportunity to remind you that we are a fan supported network, and you can join us over at patreon.com/squadcastmedia, where Brent, Ray, and Tim will be discussing the 1978 TV movie of Doctor Strange for the next release.
Oh, wow. That should be very, very interesting right there. Man, I don't even think I've even seen that.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, I can only
but then
imagine.
after that, let's keep the ball rolling, is going to be Nicolas Cage in the first Ghost Rider movie.
Yeah. Oh, that one's rough. I actually like the second one better.
I like the second one.
Yeah.
Yes.
The second one, they were like, you know what? We're actually going balls to the wall, R-rated. We got Idris Elba, and it's the dudes that make
Kieran Hines.
And and then we have the two directors that made the Crank movies, and it's like, all right, let's just go balls to the wall, which I'm like, yeah, good idea. As much as I loved Eva Mendes in the first one, what's his name?
Peter
Sam
Fonda
Elliott,
is the devil.
Peter Fonda and Sam Elliott, great cast, but
that was a movie that I watched.
yeah, but it's just like the script was just not quite there. But
no.
All right, guys, yes, make sure you watch the next episode, and thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure you smash that thumbs up before you leave. We've got all the links down there. If you want to join, do so. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you're subscribed. Patreon's down there. Everything is all down there. All links provided down below. And we'll see you guys next weekend. I mean, I know that I always say same bat time, but sometimes it kind of jumps around a little bit. So at least same bat day.
Same bat day. It's always Sunday night.
Yeah, it's usually between 7 and 8 at least. It'll be somewhere between there, and I'm pretty sure we'll be back at 7 next Sunday. So we'll talk to you guys then. See you later.